Today we are featuring the inspirational and devotional music of Alice Coltrane, Turiyasangitananda. We have a small chorus of people, as it's different in Los Angeles, where the Ashram was, where Alice was the spiritual leader for more than 30 years, where there were 40 members of a regular Sunday service choir. This is a scaled-down version of it, and we'll be presenting the music from recordings that Alice made in the late 80s and early 90s that were unreleased music. They did such great efforts to kind of authenticate the scenery of the ashram and the feeling of it. All the concerts have been on Sundays. Some have started in the afternoon where the light was coming through the window. The yellow pillows, the blue carpet is exactly the way the Mandir looked. And we attended as children. Myself and my three brothers when we were younger. So it was just our normal everyday life. Like I said, I have I got it doubly. I had a mother and a spiritual leader as well.
Miss Coltrane was a spiritual teacher as well as a great musician. And I was a member of her spiritual community. I was 21. I went to a concert she was performing at because I had heard one of her albums called Universal Consciousness. And I just I said, wow, that music is so uplifting. This person is in tune, is in touch with something higher and something I was looking for. It was a turbulent time. So I went to go hear, and I was fortunate enough to go speak with her after. And there was such a sense of peace and clarity. And that's how we connected. And I found out that she was also a teacher of meditation, a teacher of yoga, and I became one of her students. The ashram was a spiritual community, and the music and the chanting was an integral part of everything we did. Swamini would say that everything is vibrating. Our cells are vibrating, the atoms are vibrating, that sound vibration actually creates form. Sound creates form. So as we're trying to transform ourselves and evolve our consciousness, the singing, the chanting is a real aid in that. And then every now and then Swamini would go into the studio and she would take all her technical skills and she would merge the two. She would have students come and lay down some tracks, and then she'd play on top of that, and she would create these wonderful offerings. We'll give as much love as we can, and we think that the audience will respond to that, and they will give love back. And it's that sharing, that interconnection of energy that we get to awaken places within each other.
I grew up on the ashram in California, so when we first moved there in about 1983, I was a little boy, and I was there up until my 20s. And during the time that I was there, I started studying piano with, teachers in the neighborhood and some of my mom's friends who were musicians. But every Sunday I would come back to listen to Swamini, as we called her, play in the Mandir, and that's where the education truly seemed to begin, just by listening, just by being there. So from there up until the time she passed, I tried to talk to her as much as I could about music. Anything, any piece of information and knowledge she could give me, I was more than happy to receive it. the hardest part is to try to take a person who's so larger than life and condense it into an hour. And then not only a person who's larger than life in a sense, but also is one of the most skilled musicians the world has ever seen. I knew about John Coltrane after I knew about her. So there's a lot of people that have that experience where, like you said, you know, they listen to Giant Steps or A Love Supreme or Miles Davis records, and then they finally get to the part where she joined his band. But that was never my experience. I didn't even know John Coltrane was as big as he is until I was about 12, 13 years old.
I know that she did most of the interviews. I remember when I was a kid, they'd ask her a few questions and then they'd switch over to asking questions about John. What was he like, and how did he practice, and what were his patterns and behavior? And she was so kind and humble about it. You know, it was never like, well, this is what I'm doing, and just so gracious and humble. I think this is a beginning. We're here to tell the story of what we saw, and some of the people in the choir that are here, including Purushottama, who you said you just spoke to. We got a chance to tell the story, tell the history of. But I just think it is the beginning. It's just something very powerful about it, and because I saw John's legacy live on and be so much stronger after his, ascent to heaven. It's very eerily familiar to see. Wow, it's just getting, more and more exposure. So, yeah, that's what I think.